Good evening. My name is Joseph Sippets. I'm here for the St. Joseph County Public Library, and it's time for another Saturday night story. And we've got a good one today, so hold on to your seats. This is from a book called Hauntings. It has been edited by Ellen Detlow, and the story we're reading tonight is called The Fooly by Terry Dowling. It was a new town, a new chance, a new shortcut home from a new pub. All so similar and yet so different, walking this lonely road on this cool, windy night. The choosing was what made it special for Charles Rattray. The chance to choose, the ability to do it. He had lost so much before, during and after Katie, truth be told, but here he was, and at the end of that hardest choice, here in Karela instead of Karelta. It wasn't so bad. Karelta was like any other small town, really. A town you could walk out of in 10 minutes, it was so small. The Royal Exchange, like any other small pub. And this road across the fields could have been a dozen similar back roads. The same clumps of trees, the same scrappy field stone walls and barbed wire fences, same grasses blowing in the cool night wind. Some would ask, then, why relocate at all? But they didn't know, couldn't, or forgot to remember the handful of reasons that always changed everything for everyone. Katie was there. Karalta was her place. Warwick's, too, their place now. Away was better. You had to know when to leave, how to manage it, no matter how demanding or how difficult it was. And he had managed, and weren't they surprised now, if they were? Charles snapped, just stood in the blowing dark and breathed in the night. How good it was to be here, anywhere else. "You're new," a voice said, and Charles Rattray yelped in fright. There was a figure leaning against a fieldstone wall, a dark man shape darker in the darkness, with a glitter at the eyes. "You startled me," Charles managed. "That'll do for starters," the figure said. "It's all about persuasion, you see. You're new. Arrived last week. I'm the new day supervisor out at Fulton's Dairy." His eyes glittered. "I haven't seen you on the road." "Should you have?" "Well, it's my road, see. I'm here a lot." "I can't see you very well. There's not enough moonlight. I should be able—" "Part of the effect," the figure said. "Adds to the mood. I'm a specialist in mood lighting." There was a hint of a smile below the glitter. "You're a Fooly, aren't you?" "A what?" "You know, a Fooly. Something in my mind. A figment. My mind playing tricks." "Well, in a sense, that's right. I'm already tweaking your mind a bit. See, and there'll be more later. It'll get worse once I start bringing up the fear, slipping in a bit of terror and despair. Walk with me?" Charles had been walking home anyway. He started along the road again. The figure stopped away from the wall and joined him, walking in as old crimped walk. Charles found disconcerting. "You're a ghost," Charles said. "That's more like it. You don't seem very frightening." "They all say that at first. Then that's the come on, see? Start out easy. Build up to it. They never tell you about that in the ghost stories, what it really involves." "Like what?" Charles asked. "How we adjust the mind, the feelings. Being in charge of something means everything. That's what it's all about, living or dead." "I never knew." "See, that's the thing that matters most. It's like the work of art, really, judging the moment, bringing up the disquiet, the dread. Hard to believe it right now, I know, Mr. Rattray, Charles Rattray, Charles." "Good, Charles. Always try for first names. That's part of it. I'm Billy Wine. See, much less threatening. They'll tell you about me in town." Then you should have let them do that. I'll ask around. Do this another night. Too late, Charlie. Had your chance. They should have told you about Billy Wine already. Bad death, awful death. 5 people at the funeral. Disappointing all round, really. So, now you're making up for it? That's it exactly. Hey, I like you, Charles. You're quick. You're interested. That won't change anything. Not a bit. Not at all. You took this road, but no one told you? No one in the pub? No one at the dairy? About the road? No, haven't been here that long. Will I survive this? Probably not. But you have to understand, I don't get many along this road, so I like to draw it out. Sometimes I misjudge the heart business, scare folks too much. I thought ghosts just gave you a quick scare and then that was it. That's the quick shock approach, the public relations side of it. We can, do far more. That name you said, Fooly. We like to bring the victim, the subject, the scaree, to a point where they're not sure if it's real or in their heads. You get a much more panic once you get to that point. Maybe you should just give me a quick scare now, and I can come back tomorrow night. Hey, you're a real kidder. You wouldn't, of course. Surprised no one told you about me, though. Maybe you had something to do with that? Boy, you're quick, Charlie. I really like you. What are you saying? Or where are you staying? Out at the Dickerson place. 6-month lease. Well, there you go then. That explains it. They probably figured you for a relative of old Sam Dickerson. Shutters would have come down the minute you said. Or maybe you did something to stop them from telling me? Billy Wine grinned. That too. Lots of things are possible. Charles smiled to himself, at least meant to. It was actually rather pleasant walking in the night, windy, blustery, really, but cool, not cold. The grass was soughing on the verge. The trees were tossing. There was house lights off to the right. There was more behind when he glanced back, the homes of people he didn't know yet, and right there, that patch of light where Corella sat in the night, like a glow of a ship at sea. He kept alert for the fear, the thinnest edge of terror, but felt nothing. Perhaps he was immune. Maybe it didn't work for him. Should be feeling it soon, the Fooly said. Your senses will go a bit. Bring in weird stuff. Are you smelling the sea yet? Charles couldn't help it. He sniffed the wind. And he did. He could. The salt tang, impossibly far away, but there. Charles smelled it. Billy Wine's eyes glittered, a pairing of smile beneath. Seabirds? They were hardly there. Thin, far off, wheeling 4, 5 fields away, but there. Why the sea? Charles asked. Always loved the sea, Billy Wine said. You hearing trains? Trains, yes. Nowhere near as surprising. There was a station at Catella, after all. But steam trains, the ghost of Billy Wine said, anticipating. And that's what Charlie heard. Shuffling, snuffling, stolen back. There and gone, there and gone. Circus, a calliope whooped and jingled in the night, forlorn, distant, dangerous. Weeping? Oh, and there was, a full ocean lost, clown sad, mist train sorrow, desolate on the wind. Billy Wine brought it in, made Charlie do the bringing. Getting you ready, Charlie, my man. Think of it. Of all the things that you've taken from you, all the things you never got to say, all the not bitterness, bitter. Billy had a way of it, and the ghosting knack. Sure enough, Charles kept walking. What can I give? What can I trade? Trade? Don't need souls, nothing to hold 'em. Old Fooly joke. Fooly? Just using your terminology, Charlie, my man. Don't get excited. Maybe an invitation to the exchange. That'd be worth something. I can't go back. See what I can do? You wouldn't. You couldn't. They don't see you. They served you up. You did that, Charles said, stopped them a warning, tweaked their minds. The eyes glittered. The paring of a smile curved up. Taking care of business, Billy said. It's what you do. I'm nearly home. You'll never get there. The smile sharpened. Walking's getting harder, isn't it? It was. Suddenly was. Charlie felt so heavy. His legs were leaden, wooden, twin stumps of stone. This was feeding Billy, Charles saw. The power, the finesse. Billy read the moment. Time for a flourish. I think how scary I've become. And he had, oh, how he had. Charles saw, felt, knew. That awful darkness, that blend of glitter gaze, crimp step, and paired darkling smile. In spite of everything, knowing it was coming, Charles saw that Billy was the same, but not the same, never could be. The wind was slippery now, pushing, coddling, blustery, and black-handed. The grass blew, hushed, and blew again, reeling them in. No, not them, him. Him. Billy Wine lunged, strode, tottered, stared, stayed alongside, yet flowed ahead, all at once. He was sharps, dagger edges, razor gaze, and a guttering grin. The dark of him was too much, too close, too stinking hot. But mostly it was the gut-wrench, suicide cocktail of Charles Rattray, 3 parts dread, 2 parts of despair, 1 blossoming nip of revulsion slipped in sideways. Charles could barely breathe. He staggered, breath to breath, inside and out, fighting to remember what breathing was, and what walking was, and what self was. The deadly crump-stepped Billy truly was good at what he did. Close up, there was his sudden, awful intimacy. While out there, oceans closed over ships. Birds plucked at eyes, calliopes screamed into the fall of colliding trains, and Katie was denying, again and again. Charles screamed and stilted and propped, fought to breathe. No part of the night was satisfied to hold him. He pushed him away, hurled him from itself back into itself, made panic from the stilting, flailing pinwheel he had become. He screamed and yelled because Billy wanted him to. Though Billy knew to stop, of course, to relax and savor, to settle for shades and ebb and flow. He had the whole night, a whole splendid, new, in-town Charles Rattray to teach the last of all lessons. But Charles managed to keep the sense of self. It all did manage. And he let the Dickinson house be the focus of the distance, its single light, yard light, showing where it was. I made it, Charles said, knowing Billy would respond. Did you? Have you? Are you here? Are you sure? The home swept away, 1 field, 2, road threading between, single yard light, jiggering, dancing off like a small, tight corner. Too bad, Billy Wine said. We're almost at the end of it. We are? It'll be quick. You'll be fully aware. Billy sounded gleeful. But it's still early. I know, and do be disappointed. The bad death I had, only 5 people to see me off. It makes you hard. But you have the whole night. Surely there's more fear, more dread. No need. That's all just window dressing anyway. Absolutely clarity is best. Just the anguish, the disappointment, enough to spare. You go out knowing. Billy? No more, Charlie. Time to go. It'll hurt just a bit. Well, quite a bit. Well, actually a lot. Pain being what it is. But maybe you'll get to come back. Some do. Maybe I already have. And Charles Rattray was gone, spiraling away as a twist of light on the wild, dark air. Hey, what's that? Billy Wine demanded. He knew, he had even imagined the possibility, though he had never expected it. For who else watched the watchmen, hunted the hunters, hunted the haunted the haunters? Who else fooled the foolies? All that remained of Billy Wine stood in the dark, windy road and felt the ache of disappointment tear at him again and again. End of story. Good night.